Good morning. It is, I don't know, 8 a.m.-ish. No, it's probably closer to 9. But we're here going to water the garden. And I thought I would do a quick garden tour because it's kind of the change of the seasons. We're in October now. And a lot of my summer garden stuff is probably going to come out really soon. So I'll show you what there is before I take it out and switch everything over to winter garden. All right, let's go. Okay, so here is the garden space from the outside. My lovely fence. I call it my trash fence because it is literally made of what was last year's trash. I put trellis netting up, and there's a layer of this really fine, like black deer fabric that is hard to see. You can't really tell that it's there. And there's actually a bunch of fishing line that's kind of zigzag back and forth because the deer have been a huge problem, and I'm constantly trying to keep them out. They got into my garden like 3 separate times. A bunch of this summer, it just got eaten down. Like every other week they would eat it, and like mostly my peppers and tomatoes. They'd come in, eat everything, leave it alone for a week or two, just enough time for everything to rebound, and then they would come and mow it all down again. So at some point over the summer, we bought some 6-foot chicken wire and put that up all along the garden space here. It's a little flimsy, but it has at least kept the deer out. Because yeah, that kind of trash trellis netting that I had before, they at some point realized that they could just break through it. And hopefully you can see it, but this is this kind of mesh black fabric. It's supposed to be a deer netting. Yeah, it's kind of hard to see. But yeah, they realized that they could just push right through and break through that too. So yeah, we put chicken wire around it, and they've stayed out for the most part. So let's see. I guess just kind of walk you down and show you what is here. Again, be aware that things are not as vigorous as they could be because they have been eaten numerous times this year. Yeah, this is my little bean bed. I have these Chinese long beans growing. They are really long and purple and super pretty. And they're actually really delicious. We've eaten them a bunch of times now. These plants have been really prolific. There's a whole bunch of them hiding back in here. I've been cooking them like on the grill or kind of just like green beans, but they're kind of tastier than green beans. They're really sweet. I really like them, and I let a bunch of pods dry out, kind of like this one, and I'm saving the seeds. I'm definitely going to do them again next year. And there's some pumpkins in here. I got them in kind of late, and this is the first year for this garden bed, well, for most of these garden beds, so they're not super fertile. I have pretty good soil for mountain soil, but the beds are still not as fertile and productive as they could be, and hopefully will be in the future. So I don't actually have any pumpkins on there. I have this pretty little sage though, and there's a carpenter bee on there. I love the carpenter bees. They're super cute, little black, really docile bumblebees. All right, moving on. These are just some old grow bags I had. There's kind of a hodgepodge of stuff in here. This is a Shasta daisy, some marigolds, and some newly planted kale It's the beginning of my winter garden. This is a big, beautiful pineapple sage that is just finally starting to bloom. Got some flower spikes starting here. This is actually one of my mother plants, and I'm planning to take cuttings and propagate her really soon. And we have some more kale, a whole bunch of marigolds. They're just bright and pretty, and I love them. They're good companion plants. Some kind of squash, I forget what it is. I haven't gotten any actual squash off of it. Some kind of winter squash, because I like those a lot. More marigolds. This one is a butternut squash that looks like it needs to be fertilized. It's looking really yellow, but there's a little baby squash growing. Still kind of small, but it's something, so I'm happy about it. This one growing up along the fence, that is a loofah gourd. It had a big fat loofah gourd hanging here for a while, and we picked it recently. And yeah, I'm drying it out, and hopefully I will have some homegrown loofahs to shower with. Moving on, I guess we'll go down this way here. I have a little native plant bed. And my lowest bed here, so these 3 lined beds, Mike and I dug them out about 2 feet deep, and we lined them with hardware cloth, so we don't have any issues with gophers or ground squirrels or anything in these beds. Not that they've really been too much of an issue. We probably did more work than we really needed to, but they're nice, and they're kind of an extra protected space for more valuable plants, I guess. Let's see, I have another squash in here. I think this one is a gourd, actually. It's one of these like bowl gourds or something. My friend actually planted them, but there's one starting. Kind of small still, but we do have a long growing season, so I think we probably have hopefully another month before frost hits. And there's a flowering basil, a bunch of eggplants, which I have gotten quite a few off of. They're black beauty eggplants, really pretty. All right, then moving on. This next bed has a whole bunch of cabbage. I planted this, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks ago now. So they're growing pretty good, leafing out, getting big. Not quite forming heads yet, but yeah, they should fairly soon. These are part of my winter garden. Cabbage is really frost hardy, so yeah, they'll be there for a while. At the end there is some more flowering basil, some carrots that probably need to be picked, and then I've got another one of those sages, and that's actually a penstemon in the front there. It's just a really pretty purple flowering plant that doesn't have any flowers on it at the moment. Next garden bed here, I've got a whole bunch of broccoli. They're planted at the same time as the cabbage. They're in the same family, that's why they look so similar. And they're also part of my winter garden. Again, none of them are starting to form broccoli heads or anything yet, but they're looking really, really happy. I'm excited about this winter garden. I think it'll be a productive one. On the trellis here, I had planted some cucumbers. They got eaten by the deer a bunch of times and are just finally starting to do something. So there's some cucumbers, but not super productive. Although I did recently plant peas along this too, and they're just starting to sprout. You can see here, they're just germinating, and the peas are going to be part of the winter garden also. And then there's some more little kales in here, some borage. And moving on, more flowering basil. Some more squashes that are not really that big or productive, and I forgot what kind they are. I have it written down somewhere, but I planted like, I don't know, 8 different kinds of squash, so I don't remember which one I planted where. And then that is a big bed of, well, not a big bed, but a couple of plants of Swiss chard right there. Because I really love Swiss chard. It's pretty. I guess it's rainbow chard because they're different colors. But it's pretty. It grows well for me. It's really productive. I can grow it year-round. I enjoy eating it. I think it's easier to grow than spinach, but it's in the spinach family, and I use it just like I would spinach. So I grow that instead of spinach. At the end here, it's a couple of random onions. This was an onion bed previously, and I guess these are a couple that there's a few over there too. I guess I forgot to pull them or miss them. They were too small, I don't know. This is calendula. There's a couple that seeded in. And then this is a really nice, beautiful culinary sage plant. She's really happy right here, and I really love her color, and these big leaves, they look a little different than like the traditional culinary sage to me. I bought it at I forget now, a plant sale, I think from the college here. But yeah, she's a really pretty, healthy plant. And next bed, these are all tomatoes. So these top 3 beds here, this is their first year. Mike and I dug them in May, I think, and added compost, and they're doing okay. The tomatoes would be a lot bigger if the deer did not eat them down 3 times. Apparently tomatoes and peppers and cucumbers are some of deer's favorites, which is not good for me. But yeah, since we put the fencing up, they've rebounded. They're doing decent. I have 2 kinds of cherry tomatoes. I forget what this one is. I think there's supposed to be a yellow one in here, and maybe a purple one. Some little red tomatoes on there. And this is one of those black crims. A nice big one that's starting to ripen there. Oh, she's got a little crack. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. Nice zucchini here that I've actually not really gotten any zucchinis off of yet because it was just hot and it had a hard time growing. So now that the temperatures are lower, I'm finally getting some zucchini, which is okay because zucchini is not really my favorite. I like it, but I can only eat so much of it, so that's okay. That's my sad corn bed. I don't know. I've never been that successful at growing corn, and I don't know if I'll do it again. That's supposed to be a bantam corn, so it was supposed to be on the smaller side, but the ears are squishy and not really, they didn't kernel up nicely. I probably didn't water it enough or fertilize it enough, but yeah, I don't know if I'll do it again. And this bed is all Roma tomatoes. So there's 18 Roma plants in there, and my plan was to have these big, beautiful Roma tomatoes that I would make sauce out of and can, and yeah, the deer had other plans. They ate most of them down, and they've been reasonably productive. I'm definitely getting some fruits from them now, but not enough to make it worth canning them. So we're just eating them as we go, making sauces and, not sauces, but salsas, and yeah, just generally cooking with them. I have a couple more of these pineapple sages in here because they're good pollinator plants. The bees like them. They're just super pretty. I really love pineapple sage. The pineapple sage is not frost hardy though, so I will probably take cuttings of most of those and try to make new plants for next year because they will probably die when we get our first frost or two. We don't get too many hard frosts, but we definitely get enough that it kills stuff in the winter here. And then my final bed, these are a variety of peppers that could be a lot bigger, but again, the deer ate them. I'm actually going to build a little hoop frame over this because peppers are perennial, so I'm going to try to overwinter them, and hopefully I'll have a really great pepper crop next year. They're actually doing really good given that they've been eaten down 3 times. This is a chocolate cake pepper here. This is a new one to me, but it's a bell pepper that turns purple and it's supposed to be extra sweet. You can see it's kind of starting to turn colors here. Let's see, I have all these bolete mushrooms popping up in here too. All these guys, I didn't plant those. They just showed up. I don't know that much about mushrooms, but my friend said that they're boletes and that they're edible, but not all that tasty. I have not tried them, and I don't know if I will. This next section, these are ancho peppers. There's quite a few. These plants are actually pretty productive. They were really tasty too. And this one is, I think that's just the regular California Wonder Bell. We've eaten several of those already. Yum. My next bed here is jalapenos. They're getting pretty ripe. I got some nice good ones on there. I've harvested quite a few. For being such small plants, they've actually been pretty productive. So really excited to see what overwintered plants do next year. And then my final little pepper section here, these are called Italian Red Roasters. And they're finally starting to turn red. We've waited for so long. This one giant one here has been here, God, it feels like for like a month. It's been big and I've just been waiting for it to turn color, and it finally is. So I'm pretty excited. And yeah, that is my vegetable garden.